From America's heartland, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 163, the 2024 Kansas City Open March Point Tournament. 5 players have qualified for the TV finals, but only one can be crowned as the Division I champion. Here are the 5 finalists. Bowling in the first match and qualifying 5th is Nicholas Goss of Lawrence, Kansas. He'll face the 4 seed, PJ Douglas of Olathe, Kansas. The winner of that match will challenge the 3 seed, Andrew Coleman, making his 2nd appearance in a row on Prodigy. That winner will meet the 2 seed, Dason Tidwell of Topeka. And that winner will bowl for the title against tournament leader Rhett Ryman. 2 days ago, he became a Kansas high school state champion. One of these 5 kids is moments away from becoming the Division I champion at the 2024 KCO March Point Tournament and will sign the coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Welcome once again to Olathe, Kansas, about a 30-minute drive southwest of downtown Kansas City, Missouri, where we've returned once again to Olathe Lanes East, home of the best youth bowling program in the greater Kansas City area. We're here for the 2024 Kansas City Open March Point Tournament. All year long, contestants at the KCO accrue points, and the winner of the season-long point race receives an additional scholarship prize along with their scholarship prize winnings for where they finish in each tournament. And now that the Kansas high school bowling season is over, we're in the stretch run of the KCO season, which culminates right here at Olathe Lanes East in June with the KCO's final event of the season, the KCO Invitational, which is then followed by the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions on the Sunday after Father's Day. But today, we're here to crown the March champion in Division I. As in all KCO point tournaments, contestants bowl 6 games of qualifying. And here's how qualifying went down in Division I. As you can see, after off-the-wall Paul Stigall and Preston Nicholson each started with a 277 out of the gate to seize the pole position, Rhett Ryman wasted no time in answering as he bowled a 300 in the 2nd game to take charge. And by the end of the morning block, Rhett was off and running, with Ethan Deal his nearest pursuer. Dason Tidwell and PJ Douglas both had strong opening blocks to get into the top 5. Nicholas Goss got off to a bit of a slow start and was sitting in 16th place after the morning block, needing a solid bounce-back block in the afternoon. Some of our regulars who have made a habit of qualifying for the stepladder finals struggled, with Nolan Nash in 13th. Tashawn Clark and Connor John were middle of the pack. And 2 of our winners earlier this season, Brody Ummel and Caden White, were treading water, tied for 22nd. It was our biggest field of the season so far, with 35 players in Division I. In the afternoon, the big moves were made by Andrew Coleman, who threw a tidy little 7-10 series to jettison up the leaderboard from 14th to 3rd. And Nicholas Goss, who got the big bounce-back series he needed with a 672, vaulting him up the leaderboard from 16th to 5th. Meanwhile, Rhett Ryman, Dason Tidwell, and PJ Douglas kept their foot on the gas in the afternoon and successfully capitalized on their good starts in the morning to secure their positions in the top 5 for our championship round. Meanwhile, 2 of our most steady players, Nolan Nash and Caden White, went home empty-handed. Neither of them are in the field next week either at the March Adult Youth Doubles event at Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri. So they'll have a little extra time to lick their wounds and get ready for our April return to Crown Lanes in Leavenworth. So as we take one more look at the seedings for our stepladder finals, it's time to get match 1 underway with our 5 seed Nicholas Goss of Lawrence, Kansas, making his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. His opponent is certainly no stranger to Prodigy Land or the winner's circle, as P.J. Douglas is the reigning champion at the KCO March Point Tournament. Who can forget the thrilling ending to last year's tournament when P.J. needed 3 strikes in the 10th to beat Colby Lovegren by a single pin, and he got it. He'd love to repeat, and honestly, Nicholas Goss is a bit of an unknown quantity, so it should be interesting to see what he brings today. We've got a pretty good idea of what P.J. Douglas brings. He's the reigning champion here in the March Point Tournament at the KCO, having won following a pressure-packed 10th frame last year. Well, the ball doesn't quite finish on his opening toss, and PJ faces a 10-pin. And honestly, if there's one single pin spare that he's had problems with on Prodigy the last couple of years, it's the 10-pin. But let's not be throwing any jinxes on him. We'll assume that he will convert this no muss, no fuss. He'll go cross lane at it. And there you go. So a spare for P.J. Douglas in the first frame. And now we get our first look at Nicholas Goss. This young man from Lawrence, Kansas, bowls at Royal Crest Lanes, where we were a couple of times this season on Prodigy and the KCO. He'll start on the right lane. And he buries that one in the pocket for a strike in the first frame. Nicholas is 17 years old. It was his grandpa who got him started bowling, and his grandpa has a 300 game to his credit. How about that? And that toss was high flush. See if he can turn it into a double here. Well, that one crosses over and leaves the 6-10. Nicholas appears to have a bit of a loop-de-loop in his backswing. We may be able to get a closer look at it at some point during the match. Covers the spare. No problem. And that'll set the stage for P.J. Douglas. Started bowling at the age of 7 in a family league. Boom. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but PJ looks to me like he's made a little change in his backswing. Look at how far behind the ball and even to the inside of the ball his hand is at the top of the swing. That is ideal. And he just plows through the pins on that one. His high game, a 299. He also has a 791 series to his credit as his career best. This time he smacks out that 10 pin. So we get our first double of the day. As Nicholas Goss now returns to the right lane. And that's a solid strike. A little unconventional in the way he gets there. Watch this 5-step approach. Ball only gets up to about hip high, if that. And then it bounces to the outside, where it is right under his head. But look how far from his left ankle it is on release. And he seems to hold on to it That ball is airborne for a while. Big loft. But it works for him. Boy, he was squeezing it into the pocket that time, crowding the head pin, but that's 10 back. And when you're in competition, you don't ask how. The only question they want to know is how many. And that's 10. All right, PJ working on a double. And he sends that 5-pin over toward the 7 and wipes it out. And now PJ has a turkey and a 10-pin lead once again. PJ with a 4-step approach. Very repeatable swing. Good shot. Can extend the lead to 20 with another strike here in the 5th. And he does just that. Once again, catching the half pocket and just rips the rack. Watch the 5-pin, the one in the middle of the rack behind the head pin. The ball will catch the half pocket and drive through and send that 5 over into the 4 and 7. Mixes them up. All right, Nicholas, you're going to need to bring it today, I think. Oh, timber! Gets the light shaker to go. Watch this. He will hit very light on the head pin. And the head pin goes to the left wall, knocks the 4 into the 5, and it gets the 7 on the way. I don't care if they fall down one at a time as long as they go down. Boy, and he gets another one crowding the head pin. So a very competitive opening match. Here's his footwork. Short little first step. Kind of steps back to the right his last couple of steps. But once again, it's working for him. Match is back to even. PJ can take the lead. And he gets the shaker. Tell you what, PJ Douglas, very quiet on the lanes. He very rarely shows any emotion at all. But when his high school bowling season came to an end this week in Wichita, the last 4 games were the Team Baker games. He struck on every one of the 16 balls he was asked to throw. And when it was over, he was in tears. Because he knew it was the end of his high school bowling career. They finished second this year to a powerhouse team in Kansas that took top honors. There's PJ's footwork. Fundamentally very sound. Love the way his slide foot ends up perpendicular to the foul line. Well, Nicholas doesn't quite get the ball to corner at the end, and he leaves the weak 10. When we refer to it as the weak 10, it's not a weak ball, it's what we call the 10 pin that remains when the 6 pin just lays in the gutter and doesn't fly around the neck of the 10. Oh no. He pulls the spare attempt, and our first big mistake of the match, and it's costly. Nicholas now trails by 33 pins. He needed a couple of strikes this turn just to make it an even match again, and instead he opens. And that one crosses over, leaving the 6-10. Well, the players to our right on lanes 3 and 4, that's the Division II group. We'll recap their stepladder finals when we get to the end of the show. There's a spare for Nicholas. But now PJ with a 6-bagger. He started with a 10-pin and has strung 6 in a row since. He can just about run away and hide here and put this thing out of reach with a couple more strikes. No, he just gets the 10. That's what you're looking for the 6-pin to do, is just nudge that 10 enough to tip it over. This is close to being a ringing 10, but that 6-pin, as it's flying around the 10, it just touches it. Boom. Well, that gives PJ 230 if he doesn't throw another ball. Watch this one. Over about 13 at the arrows, out to about 8. And 10 back. Nicholas can strike out for 237. There's one. Even if he does strike out, it's a pretty big ask to hope for PJ to collapse in the 10th frame, but I've seen some crazy things happen in this sport. Well done. 3 more in the 10th for 237. Boy, he's got that lane measured. Watch it again. See how that ball gets behind his back and then it bounces to the outside, and he seems to hold on to the ball a little longer than I'd love to see. You want to roll that ball off your fingers, not loft it in the air. Keep that thumb super relaxed. And will he get a little extra pin action? Nope. So it's going to be a 225 with a spare conversion on his fill ball. And PJ's already got that and then some. So it's going to be PJ Douglas who moves on from match 1. Nicholas finishes with a 223. Not bad for his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. I know we hear from kids every now and then. They admit that bowling in front of the camera for the first time is a little nerve-wracking. PJ's an old hand at it by now. And that's a 9-bagger. Hello. Hard to beat a guy who's in dead stroke like this. Any questions? PJ with a possible 290. Another week 10. So that'll give him 259 in the 9th. And with a conversion, he'll finish with 279 to go along with the 278 that he bowled in qualifying earlier today. That's pretty juicy. There it is, 279. 279 to 223 victory. for P.J. Douglas, who takes match 1 here at the KCO in Olathe. And next up is the 3 seed, Andrew Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family. He'll face P.J. Douglas in match 2 when we return. Nicholas Goss kept that opening match close for the first 6 frames, but when he missed that 10 pin in the 7th, that's when the floodgates opened. PJ just kept piling on the strikes until eventually the match was out of reach. But Nicholas can take solace from the fact that he threw a perfectly respectable 223. So he didn't lose, he just got beat. When your opponent throws a 279 at you, that's going to happen most of the time. So it's a 5th place finish for Nicholas Goss, and it's on to match 2 for P.J. Douglas, who now faces our number 3 qualifier, Andrew Coleman. Andrew made the show last month when we were at Crown Lanes in Leavenworth, so this is 2 appearances in a row for him. Andrew got sucked into a vortex of splits in Leavenworth on the show, so he's anxious to put that in the past and bowl the kind of match he knows he's capable of throwing. But he also knows he's going up against a red-hot P.J. Douglas, who shot 278 in qualifying and is coming off that 279 in the last match. There's liable to be fireworks up ahead. Andrew, being the higher qualifier, had the option, so he has said, "PJ, you can lead off." And PJ rips the rack. He put that ball in that same half pocket area that he did to open the first match. That time he left a weak 10. This time he just shreds the rack. Over about 13 at the arrows, swings it out to about 11. And look at that rack just split apart. All right, Andrew Coleman looking to make amends for his performance on Prodigy 1 month ago in February when he couldn't stay off the nose. And boy, that's a good way to do it right there. Just powers the pins down. Not much doubt about that one. This guy can really rev it up. And when he gets locked in, look out. Gets that one all the way out to about 5. And it comes charging back, and man, good thing we were way back here. We might have got sucked in by the backdraft of that one. Taking his time. That one didn't quite get back. He didn't send it as wide. When you're bowling on the house shot, that can sometimes be the prevailing ball motion. You get that ball farther to the right, it will hook back farther to the left. And you don't send it as wide, well, it won't hook back as much, because those boards on the outside of the lane are dry, and the earlier you get the ball on the dry, the sooner it starts coming back. Keep it in the oil a little longer, it'll go farther before it starts hooking. But he covers the 2-pin without an issue, so a strike spare beginning for Andrew, and that's got to be encouraging for him. Now PJ trying to put a strike up right behind the one he started with. Oh, I think he was afraid that was going to sneak up and catch the nose, but it held pocket just long enough that he has a double to begin the match. Watch this. He'll get this one a little wider than I think he wanted to. Yeah, he hit about 10 at the arrows. That's all the way out to about 6. And it was crowding the head pin, but high flush. That's more like the line he's trying to play. A little straighter, just inside the oil line. Now, watch the boards this crosses. Over about 13 at the arrows. Only gets out to about 10 or 11. You see it doesn't overreact. Just a nice smooth move into the pocket. And PJ with a turkey out of the gate. Well, Andrew didn't get that one as wide as he did in the first frame, but he missed far enough to the left that it still went high. And the machine has swept away his spare. He left that 6-pin, so we will have to have the bowling center people reset the spare, and maybe he can do that from the console. He's going to wait for a Kansas City Open official to do the honors of that. So while we wait, I will mention that our next event on the KCO calendar is on the 17th of this month. Yes, there are two, count them, two KCOs in the month of March. They do that partially to get the Kansas kids motivated to get back in the swing of things and start bowling the KCO again after they were out of action for 2 months while they were bowling high school bowling in the state of Kansas. Kids in Kansas are not allowed to bowl tournaments or leagues, for that matter, when the high school bowling season is going on. So, once it's over, KCO holds 2 tournaments in the month of March. This one, the point tournament. And then on the 17th, we'll be in Belton, Missouri at Aaron's Family Fun Center for the second of 2 adult-youth doubles tournaments the KCO has on their calendar. We'll cover 2 divisions, Division 1 and one other to be announced. That Division 1 tournament a year ago was when Nolan Nash won with his doubles partner, Quentin Mamer. Quentin's now coaching. He's not going to be available to bowl, and I don't believe Nolan has entered that tournament, so he'll be out at Aaron's. That will be good news for the other Division 1 players. All right, Andrew Coleman going for that 6-pin. And he makes short work of it. Andrew started bowling at the age of 4. His mom and dad got him started. I think everyone in the bowling Coleman family bowls. And Andrew has a 300 to his credit. And a 759 as a high series. Oh my. Well, the 2, 4, 8, 10, it's more makeable than it might appear. If you throw enough hook, if you hit the 2-pin on the left side, the ball will get the 4, and it'll actually hit the left side of the 4 and knock the 4 into the 8 while the 2 goes flying across the lane into the 10. If you do it just right. It's tricky, but it can be made. Oh, how about that one? Great shot. Take another look at this one. I'm not sure if we've ever had anybody make the 2-4-8-10 on Prodigy. I think this might be the first. That was beautiful. Watch it again. That's how it's done. PJ says, that's okay. I got another strike or two in me. Boy, this is a good one, too. He just rips them apart. Straight up about 9. And that 5-pin just whistled right over into the 7 and had no chance. Well, that one crept a little high. So his string stops after 4. But the lead is 33, assuming he covers the 4-7.
Sorry.
Every delivery looks just like the previous one. Well, Andrew, you're having a much better time of it than last month, but you're going to need some strikes, I think, against PJ. This would be a good time to get a little string started right here. Oh, goodness gracious. Like a punch to the stomach. Man, how did that not go? Well, I think we'll be able to see. Watch the 2-pin, the third one from the left. It's going to go to the left wall, turn around, and just go flying across the lane right in front of the 7-pin. Never touched it. You throw one of those and you just stand there in disbelief. But he covers the spare. But now Andrew's got to be hoping for a few more strikes in the second half of this match. He's throwing it pretty good. Can't throw it much better than that last one. Andrew's favorite Pro Bowler, Anthony Simonson. Oh, that time it did jump at the end. Lucky he didn't leave a split. Had the 6-9-10 up for a moment. The 6 and 9 went out, and he's left with just the 10. Every little bit helps. He's really taken his time today. I admire that and applaud it. As long as you don't stiffen up while you're standing there, you want to stay loose. Some players stand there. This is true in bowling just like it's true in golf. You don't want to stand over a shot too long and allow your muscles to tighten. All right, PJ would like to get right back on the horse and start another little string of strikes. That's one way of doing it. Looked like the Red Sea parting on that one. Watch it again. 4-step approach. Ball nice and close to his ankle. Watch this. It's going to deflect, but that ball will split the 5 and 6. And down they all go. I don't know what got the 10, but maybe it was the wind. Oh, I thought he lost that one to the right, but it came back. Got the half pocket with a little extra entry angle. And that double will help snuff out any little notion of a comeback that Andrew might still harbor. But he doesn't care. He's going for the gusto here. He'd like to bury this one right in the 1-3. Just like that. Unbelievable. He's only had 2 strikes this match. That one got out to about 6. Now, if he can strike here in the 8th and set himself up for the 9th and 10th, he could give himself a fighting chance. There you go. He really needed that. Watch this. He's a planter, not a slider. That went out to about 7. Snaps out the 10 pin. All right, PJ would like to keep this string going. But instead, he misses wide right. Sends the head pin around the 2 and leaves the 2-4. A fairly routine spare for a right-hander. A little more difficult for a lefty. PJ will throw his normal strike shot from about 3 or 4 boards to the right of his strike position. Just like that. Andrew with a possible 233. PJ going at a 236 pace. So this is anybody's match. Yeah, he looked down at his feet that time. I don't know if he stuck or if he slipped, but one way or the other, his footing didn't seem quite right at the end. That can be a little disconcerting for a player. And he'll go cross lane at the 10. Easy peasy. Well, the last time we were in Olathe was for the December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. And PJ's younger brother, Anthony, and his partner nearly ran the stepladder to win the event, but Anthony and his partner came up just short. Alan Dirkings, who was PJ's partner last year. Oh boy, Andrew sure would have liked to have gotten that one. He could have cut the lead to 22, but instead he's going to trail by 33 pins going into the 10th frame, and that is a tough lift to overtake your opponent from 33 back in the final frame. Gotta make this. Okay, don't hurt him. Andrew with a possible 212 with 3 strikes in the 10th. PJ is sitting at 205 if he throws 2 gutter balls in the 10th, which I don't think he's going to do. But Andrew's going to have to take it off the sheet and hope that PJ makes a huge mistake at the end. Gets the first one. You can't get all 3 if you don't get the first one. Here's his footwork, 4 steps. He's a planter, as I mentioned earlier, over about 18 at the arrows, out to about 5 or 6. And that almost hooked high. Got to be careful not to get that thing too wide too quickly, or it'll start hooking too soon. Double dribble. And he gets away with it. Watch this. Watch him bounce it off the floor. Got a little too low. You don't see that every day. But he loved the result. All right. A strike for 212. And at least he'll have a mathematical chance. Don't do anything silly here in short count. You never know what'll happen. All right. Andrew did what he had to do, and that's a clean game. And after what he had to endure last month, I'm sure he's happy with that. But will it be enough? PJ just needs 4 pins. So I would say just stay behind the foul line and throw even a marginal shot ought to get it done. And that certainly will wrap things up here in match 2. PJ socks this one away. Watch this. It's the shutout ball. PJ just a little down and in shot, and he's got plenty on it to rip the rack. I love what he's done in his backswing. I don't know if that's a product of some new coaching that he picked up during the high school bowling season, but watch his hand position at the top of the swing. He's way on the inside of the ball rather than behind it or on the outside. He's never really been on the outside of the ball, but he's even more inside than I've seen him in the past. That's a very strong position. And look at that, 3 rippers in the 10th. 245 to 212. That's a 245 right on the heels of a 279. Thank you very much. So PJ Douglas takes his 2 wins and momentum into match 3 against Dason Tidwell next. Well, at least Andrew Coleman can exit the stage this month knowing that he didn't beat himself. He bowled a clean game, and that even included a conversion of a difficult split, the 2-4-8-10. His problem this time was that he waited a little too long before he made the right ball change. But once he did, he was locked in. 5 strikes in his final 6 strike attempts. In match play, if you don't have a good look, don't wait around to make a change because you'll run out of frames. Lesson learned. So it's PJ Douglas who is advancing to match 3, and now he'll face Topeka's Dason Tidwell. Dason was a medalist at last week's Kansas High School Bowling State Finals in the individual competition, finishing 20th in Division 5A. He's making his second appearance on Prodigy today, having finished second to Davis Best in 2022 at the November Point Tournament in Lawrence. And PJ is looking for his second title of this season on Prodigy, having won this past November in Lawrence. On that one occasion when Dason did appear on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, that was November 2022, he was the 2 seed that day. He beat Colby Lovegren 192 to 167. And then in the championship match, he lost to tournament leader Davis Best 191 to 167. Little confusion on which lane to start on, but Dason's ready to go. He's leading off. And he does so with a bang. Big strike to start. Watch it again. He uses the full approach. Pretty simple game. Straight back, straight through with the arm swing. Down and in, playing toward the center of the lane near the track area. All right, PJ. Maintains his look on the lanes. And he too starts with a powerful strike. We'll get another look at it here. Hand way behind the ball. Nice turn at the bottom. Out to about 8 at the tracers. And that's 10 in the pit. Both of these players 18 years old. Snaps out the 10-pin like a boss. PJ says his biggest thrill in bowling came when he picked up the 7-10 split. I was there that night. It was in Summer League. And unfortunately, I wasn't within close proximity to see it, but boy, we heard about it that night. Dason a little light with that one. Leaves the 2. Dason started bowling at the age of 4, but he's really only been bowling competitively for about the last 4 years. But he certainly picked up the fundamentals quite nicely. Another player who mentions Anthony Simonson as his favorite pro bowler. Dason says what he wants to be when he grows up is a high school band director. I'm pretty sure we've never had anyone fill out the questionnaire with that answer before. Crunch berries. Love that one. He's got that left lane all figured out, it looks like. Here's his footwork, starting on 25. Let's see where he slides. Well, right on 25. No drift at all. He's got a real fundamentally sound game. There is just one thing about his game that I would love to see him work on, and I think we might get to see it here in a second. PJ with another solid strike of his own. All right, let's take a look at the two of them side by side. PJ taller than Dason, but Dason uses more approach. And now watch this. At the bottom of the swing, Dason's got the ball a little to the right of his head. He could work on that. PJ with the ball actually a little left of his head. We like it under the head or to the left of it for a right-hander. Both of them with their fingers right at about the equator, maybe slightly below it. As long as it's under the equator and not on top, you're in pretty good shape. And more than one way to skin a cat. They both get the pins to dance. Ooh. Well, that was just a tick high. And PJ chops the 5 right off the 9 as the ball goes through the pins. A lot of people judge a shot by where it enters the pins. The best way to judge a shot is where it exits the back of the pin deck. That first shot exited behind the 8-pin. A perfect strike takes out 4 pins, the 1, 3, 5, and 9. It should just touch those 4 pins. The 5 gets the 8. Or the ball can touch both the 8 and the 9. I guess you wouldn't complain about that kind of shot either, but when it goes off the back of the deck behind the 8 pin, you can leave a 9. That looked pretty good. And now Dason has the right lane figured out, and boy, if he can keep striking on the left lane, he could be a handful for PJ. Very simple game. Not a lot to go wrong. I'm surprised we haven't seen this kid on Prodigy more often. But, oh, goodness, he doesn't bowl the KCO all that often. Stone 8, the one true tap in bowling. This is unusual because the ball actually chops the 5 off the 8. And you say, how does that happen? Well, it's because another pin kind of gets in the way and starts it back to the right of the 8 pin. And the ball just kind of helps it along. It's a very unusual shot. But it happens often enough to be the bane of most bowlers' existence. Stone 8 for a right-hander, stone 9 for the lefty. Oh, PJ got that one way to the right. Out into Never Never Land, and it never had a chance of getting back. And he leaves a version of the washout, the 1-2-10. Here's how you make it. Hit the head pin on the left side. The ball will also get the 2, but you want to throw that 1 pin over into the 10. And he goes for it aggressively, but hooks past the 1 pin, and that's 8 out. And with that open, he hands the lead to Dason Tidwell. PJ looked pretty much unstoppable at the beginning of this match, coming off a 240-plus game and then starting with a turkey. Just a pinch high on that one, leaves the 4. PJ's high series, a 791. You've seen him on Prodigy. He's won several times on the show. And at the KCO, he also won the Youth Masters once. Covers the 4. All right, Dason working on a spare. Leads by 5. Ten pin stops him. This kid bowled a 299 at the Lawrence Free State Invitational in 2023. He counts that as probably his best moment in bowling. He also medaled this year. The top 20 win medals in the individual competition at the high school state finals, and he finished 20th in his division. Covers the 10. Tight match, 4 pins separating these two. Dason with the advantage. Both players with a spare working. Got that one just a little too wide. It didn't want to come back. But an easy spare, the 2 pin. To make the 2-pin, just throw your strike ball, move your feet about 3 or 4 boards to the right of your strike position, throw it over your strike target. He's going with his spare ball down the left side. I like that. That's the way I recommend shooting the 2-4-5 or 2-5 combination. Now just 3 pins apart. PJ just wants to string a couple of strikes here. He can flip the match in his favor. Oh no, once again he misses wide right. And once again he has the washout, this time the 1-2-4-10. Well, he almost made it the last time. Same shot as if you were shooting the 1-2-10, which he missed just a little while ago. Just throw that 1 pin over into the 10. The ball will get the 2 and the 4. Now, assuming he hit what he was looking at on his last attempt, and we don't know that, but if he did, I'd just move back another board to the left. He was close last time. But he throws essentially the same shot again, just hooking past the head pin, getting 8 out once again. And Dayson's lead grows to 19. Fortunately for PJ, at least Dayson isn't working on a strike. But PJ needs to get busy. Another good ball, just fractionally high. You'd think on some of those you might trip the floor, but not to be. PJ with a conversion here. And then strikes in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th would finish with 208. Dayson's going at a 207 pace. So this is far from over. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, the bowlers to our right on lanes 3 and 4, that's Division 2. We'll recap their stepladder at the end of the show. How about that one right there? Little half pocket, looked like it could have left a weak 10, but instead, Dayson says, no, I think I'm going to rip the rack. Watch it again. 4-step approach from way in the back of the approach. Big long strides to generate some ball speed, and he just tears them apart. And another one. So Dayson tightening the screws on PJ. Watch this one. He has moved a little left from the last time he was up on that left lane. Threw this one out to about 7. And just runs him over. All right, PJ. He's really got to start stringing strikes now. There's one. Watch it again. PJ's so consistent. He's always pretty close to the lead in all these KCOs. But to have any chance at all to win, he's pretty much got a strike here in the 10th and the 11th. Ah! 6-pin whistles around the 10 for the ringing 10, and, well, I think PJ knows the writing is on the wall now. Possible 188. Dayson's already sitting at 177. if he fouls twice in the 10th. Well, finish it out, get all you can, and then sit down and hope. The bowling gods do funny things sometimes. Oh my goodness. Well, can't really afford a short count. 184. Well, Dason Tidwell can probably finish this thing off blindfolded. He only needs 3 pins. I think he can get it. I think I'd be right with that prediction. So it's Dason Tidwell who's going to be facing Rhett Ryman for the championship here in Division I at the KCO March Point Tournament. And he did it with shots like this. Stroker style, but those pins are falling like the ball came off the hand of a cranker. Gotta love the trip 4. The bowler's friend, 237 if he fills it up on the final ball. Love it. That's how you finish off a match. It's a 237 to 184 victory for Dason Tidwell over PJ Dokalis, who looked unstoppable. But it's Dason Tidwell who will face Rhett Ryman for the title when we return. are times that I've watched P.J. Douglas bowl where it seemed like he was never going to stop striking. Today, you watched him bowl a 279, then follow it up with a 245, and in the third match, he started with a turkey. You're thinking it's going to be a long day for his opponents. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, the strikes dried up. And when he left those washouts in the 5th and 7th frames, it was clear that he'd lost his look and he lost his touch. Fortunately, there's every reason to believe he'll get it back. But not before he has to step aside and watch as Dason Tidwell moves on to bowl for the championship against our tournament leader, Rhett Ryman. To say that Rhett is red hot would be an understatement. Just 2 days ago, Rhett took first place in the Kansas High School Bowling State Finals in the individual competition and is now the reigning Division 5A Boys State Champion. And earlier today in qualifying here at the KCO, Rhett bowled a 300. The last time he was on Prodigy before the high school bowling season started, Rhett won all 4 matches to run the stepladder in January and defeat Nolan Nash in the championship match 276 to 268 to become the only 2-time winner on Prodigy this season. And now he's just moments away from a chance to become our first 3-time winner of the season. But he'll have to get past Dason Tidwell to do it. Dason just dashed P.J. Douglas's hopes of joining Rhett as a 2-time winner on the season. With a victory, Dason can become our 6th titleist in Division I so far this season. This is the 4th time this season Rhett has bowled for the championship in the final match at the KCO. He's 2 for 3 so far. All 3 of those were against Nolan Nash. And he starts with a soft 10. Rhett is 16, turned 17 in August. Started bowling at the age of 8, started league at the age of 10. He has 4 300 games. And 1 missed 10 to start this match, and that's not what he had in mind at all. And Dason's got to know he just got handed a gift. Rhett doesn't make many mistakes like that. And Dason says, yes, I'll take advantage of that. Thank you very much. Hard to believe that this kid's high series is only 735. He has a 299. It won't be long. He'll be putting up 750s, 780s. He'll be bumping up against that 800 threshold and probably breaking through before long. He certainly got the game. Throw enough shots like that, maybe sooner than later. Once again, here's Dason's footwork, 4-step approach. He's a slider, not a planter. Over about 14 at the arrows, out to about 8. And down they go. Boy, that ball jumped hard to the left. Got out to the dry boards on the right side of the lane and just turned on its left turn blinker. He's got to keep that ball a little farther to the left so that it stays in the oil longer, or he'll be fighting that. As much ball as he throws. covers the 6-10. Now he needs to put another shot right in the pocket on the left lane, which he did in the first frame, and hope for better results with his carry, or he's going to get left behind by Dason. There you go. Another 4-step approach guy, a planter, big loft today. Over about 10 at the tracers, and, well, that was dead solid, perfect. Yeah, Dason got that a little too wide. That right lane looks like it'll hook hard if you get it out to the right. Now, it didn't happen that way for PJ when he sent it out there. The ball just hung out there, and he left a couple of washouts, but looks like these other guys get around the ball just a little bit more. He covers the 6-10. And now Rhett, with a strike working in the third, can use that to his advantage if he can unlock the mystery of the right lane and get a double to cut the lead down to within a mark. But first, Dason would like to start a little string of his own. And that's exactly what he does. Watch this again. He's still standing about 25-26, throws that one about 14 at the arrows, gets it out to 10, and when you don't get it that wide, out to about 7 or 8, or even 6, the ball won't overreact. Oh my goodness. Well, I think Rhett is flummoxed. The 1-2-8. Put the ball on the left side of the head pin. The ball will get the 2. And the 2 will either get the 8 or the ball will drive through and get the 8. Either way, you can touch all 3 pins with the ball. That's the surest way to make it. Oh, you don't want to hit the head pin on that side. But he got away with it. I think that right lane is just getting into Rhett's head now. He didn't throw it as wide. The ball just kind of stayed there and didn't come up. Throws it aboard to the right of that, and it hooks through the nose. What to do? What to do? Well, what you do is you throw a strike on the lane you've had some success on. But it overreacts for him on lane 1 as well. And he's just shaking his head, wondering if he's going to come up with any answers before he runs out of frames. This is the pair of lanes that Rhett bowled his 300 on this morning. But they weren't behaving quite like this. Or could it be Rhett isn't bowling quite like he did this morning? Well, that is always the conundrum the bowler faces. Is it the lane, or is it me? Or is it the ball? Dason says, I don't care. If you throw it like that, you'll let the chips fall where they may. Let the pins fall where they may. You put it here, most of the time, they will fall. Boy, that was like a truck going through the pins. Didn't even have the best entry angle, but man, you hit them right there, and good night, pins. Well, that one just didn't quite turn the corner at the end. And so, 6-pin died in the gutter, and he's left with the 10-pin. But I tell you what, if he goes double spare the rest of the way, I like his chances. Covers the 10 with ease. Rhett with a possible 237. Jason with a 217 pace. So this is far from over, but Rhett's got to show some signs of life here on this pair of lanes. No, that'll help. More than anything, that'll reassure him that there is a line he can play on that lane and get the result he's looking for. Watch that shot again. Can't quite make out where he is over the arrows, but he gets it out to about 8 or 9 at the tracers, and that seemed to be just the right spot. He really needs to back that strike up with another one right here. Get back in the match. But no, it goes high on him once again. And I tell you what, he's lofting the ball more than I'm used to seeing him. And sometimes when you do that, you catch the ball on the upswing with your fingers and you give it a little extra juice and it'll make the ball overreact. Covers the spare, but he needs strikes to get back in this match, because Dason doesn't look like he's going to be giving it away. We talk about the importance of spares in match play, but strikes can really be important. Ooh! Wow. I don't know if that yelling that went up just as he was releasing the ball had any effect on his throw, but man, he almost left the 8-10. That could have been just the break that Rhett needed. He's standing way over to the left side of the approach and covers the 10. Well, I think what we're hearing is over on lanes 5 and 6, they've got a roll-off going on for the title. So there's some excitement going on down there. That's Division 3. We recapped their match on our previous episode of Prodigy. You can go watch episode 162, find out what happened. Dason right back in the hole with that one. Man, that'll put some pressure back on Rhett. Watch this one. I mean, he hasn't moved in several frames. Over about 14 at the arrows, out to about 9, and waved goodbye to the pins. Well, you could see Rhett didn't get that one as wide. It stayed in the oil longer, skidded farther down the lane. It almost didn't get back to hit the pocket. He actually caught a wall shot that saved him. Take another look at that shot. When Rhett gets to the bottom of the swing, he's in ideal position. The ball is not only under his head, it's a little inside of it, nice and close to his ankle. But this is where he gets into trouble when he's going too fast. Foot is pointing way to the right toward the gutter. You want it pointed parallel to the launch angle, like that. But as it is, he has to pull the ball across his body. He's lucky to have gotten away with this one, to be honest. But he's still in it. Big loft. And it cuts through the nose once again. I don't know if it was because of the loft, causing him to catch the finger holes on the upswing, giving it a little more juice. But watch this. Look how far off the floor the ball is here, and it doesn't hit the floor until, well, 6 or 8 feet down lane, maybe closer to 8 feet. And right there at the tracers, you can see he's on about the 8th board. He needs to be on about the 12th board. And the ball just overreacts. Almost had the big 4. He gets the spare, but now he's in trouble. Now the best Rhett can get is 197. Dason is going at a 216 pace. All he needs to do is stay clean in one of his 2 frames, and he can walk this one all the way home. And he gets the 10 to tilt out. That gives him a double, and now he is right on the edge of winning the title. Watch the 6-pin, the second one from the right. As it goes around the 10, it just ticks it. Little love tap. That's a winner right there. With that shot, Dason Tidwell has become the Division I champion at the Kansas City Open March Point Tournament. And he really took control of both matches he bowled. Over the 3rd arrow, out to about 9 or 10, half pocket, rips the rack. I'm impressed with this kid's game. There's another one. Like it's got radar. Watch it again. Nice, simple game, man. There's not a lot to go wrong with this game. You want to build a physical game that can repeat under pressure, and boy, has he done that. Well, that announcement on the PA right in the middle of his swing probably didn't help, but it doesn't matter. He's got this one in the win column. A 243, and Rhett Ryman can finish with 197 if he strikes 3 times here. Oh, that one hooked a little high, but he's thinking to himself, okay, how come I couldn't trip a 4 earlier?
Don't forget about the blind draw doubles.
They got leagues starting down at the high end of the bowling center. A little higher than he'd intended, but trips out the 4 and just finishing it out. Oh, my. Well, Rhett has had quite a week, winning the Division 5A Boys Individual State title at the Kansas High School Bowling State Finals. Ooh, Rhett goes for the big 4 boldly, and why not? It's a 243 to 184 win for Dason Tidwell over Rhett Ryman. Hey, Dason Tidwell just won the Kansas City Open March Point Tournament in Division I. We'll visit with him and get him to sign the coveted trophy pin right after this. It's hard to know exactly what happened with Rhett in that final match, but nothing shows how lane conditions change more than this little fact. Lanes 1 and 2, where you just watched the championship match unfold, was the same pair of lanes where Rhett bowled his 300 game in qualifying this morning. It just goes to prove how bowling demands of a player to adapt and be ready for anything. But today, the player who had the right answers in the end for the challenges that these lanes presented was Dason Tidwell, whose 243 in the championship match was more than enough to carry the day and put him in the winner's circle at the KCO. And now he gets to sign the coveted trophy pin. Look, it's another first-time winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's Dason Tidwell of Topeka, Kansas. And you beat one of the best bowlers in the Kansas City area to do it. He didn't have a great final match, but you pretty much dusted him.
Yeah. I just kind of kept looking and trying to find my shot and sticking with it, and I wasn't really trying to focus on everything else. Just trying to hold my game. Didn't really matter the outcome.
Well, your game called for a pretty straight shot.
Yeah.
Right up about the third arrow, and it worked to a T for you to the tune of a 240 something.
Yeah, 243.
How did you do it?
So on the right lane, it looked like there was a little bit of a closed pocket, so I kind of figured.
Meaning the rack was tight.
Yeah. The 1 and the 3 were a little bit close, so I was trying to keep hitting a little bit heavy so that way I could get that 3 to slide into the 6. So I kind of just played a straighter line, and that ball, it's one of my better balls that I like to use.
Well, our winner last month in Division 3, I believe, he won playing almost the same shot. Not quite the rev rate you've got, or the speed, but he was playing right up about the third arrow, and he probably hooked it no more than about 3 or 4 boards. But, you know, you're making old guys like me seem pretty smart when we say straighter is greater.
Yep.
Sure worked for you. Well,
Yeah.
there is a tradition on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. When you win, you get to sign the coveted trophy pin. Open that thing, the magic box, pick out a pin of your favorite color, or pick out a handful of pins.
I'll just stick with orange.
There you go. Sign it and put the date on it. And this also makes you eligible for the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions that will be in June, the Sunday after Father's Day, right here at Olathe Lanes East. And the winner of that event will win the coveted trophy pin. What is today's date? Is it the 2nd or the 3rd?
Third.
The 3rd, Thank you. Usually I know this, but...
I should know it. It's my mom's birthday.
Well, I think you should know it then, yes. I'll bet she knows yours.
Yep.
Congratulations, Dason Tidwell, your winner today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Nice going. As I mentioned earlier on the show, the bowlers to our right on lanes 3 and 4 were the group from Division 2, and here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the 4 seed, Micah Page, defeated the 5 seed, Tanner Cunningham, in a close one, 188 to 181. In match 2, Micah Page kept winning, this time defeating the 3 seed, left-hander Andrew Lindsay, who I'd just given a lesson to yesterday. Then in match 3, Andrew Corus stopped Micah Page's march to the top with a 208 to 165 victory, sending Andrew to the championship match against tournament leader Megan Glinka. And it was Megan Glinka who prevailed in a squeaker 218 to 215. So congratulations to Megan Glinka on winning the title in Division 2. On our previous episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you saw Bella Gonzalez win all 4 matches of her stepladder to take the title in Division 4. And we also recapped the results in Division 3, where Southpaw Chris Reno beat Kadrick Crouch in a roll-off to take the Division 3 crown. And Shane Shaunifer defeated Bailey Feuer to win the KCO March Point Tournament in Division 5. So congratulations to all 5 champions at the 2024 Kansas City Open March Point Tournament. Coming up next, it's the second of 2 KCO tournaments in March and the second of 2 adult-youth doubles tournaments on the KCO calendar as we head to Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri. And we'll bring you the exciting championship round action in 2 of the divisions at this event. If you'd like to bowl in an upcoming Kansas City Open, visit their website to download the entry form and get all your questions answered. Go to www.kansascityopen.com. After the event in Belton, there are only 2 more full field events: the April Point Tournament in Leavenworth at Crown Lanes, and the May Point Tournament in St. Joseph at Revolutions Lanes and Fun Center. Then, just the KCO Invitational in June and the season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions on the Sunday after Father's Day. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to receive an alert when we post a new video. And leave a comment down below. Just don't leave a spoiler. If you'd like to support the creative work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, become a Prodigy patron. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes. And for only $10 a month, you'll get early access and you'll get your name in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. You know, like the big shots in Hollywood do. Go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the prompts to become a Prodigy patron. You will have my undying thanks. To keep up with all things Prodigy, join our Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type into the search bar the words Prodigy Bowlers Tour and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit a request to join our group. But remember, you must answer the 3 screening questions or your request may be declined. It'll only take a few seconds and there's no personal information to share. So that's a wrap from Olathe Lanes East, where we'll return for our final 3 episodes of the season in June. But in the meantime, this is Coach Randy, reminding you to stay behind the foul line and hoping you'll keep kicking out the corner pins, not the foul lights or ball returns. Now, until we meet again on our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, go get your bowl on.